Hey guys, it's very, very late. It's close to 1 in the morning here in good old Ozark country in southwest Missouri, or Missouri for you southeast folks back home. So, had a lot on my mind tonight and not going to talk about it because it involves a dear friend of mine, but I was really hot about an issue earlier. Still pretty put off about it, truth be told, but I decided how to make this video and talk a little bit about one of my favorite things. Mostly I do hockey videos, but anyone who knows me knows I love my football. And say what you want about whatever with this year, but football's still football to me, and that will never change. So, what I want to talk about tonight or this morning, wherever the hell you live, uh, the Cleveland Browns, as we now know them, are an absolute dumpster fire. They're so bad. And I genuinely think they try. You know, it's a shame that they've only won one game the last year and a half, and that was only because the Chargers hit the upright on a field goal attempt. So if that actually went in, they'd be on a very, very long losing streak. I'd want to say be 22 games, something around there. Absolutely ridiculous. A lot of people for years have been trying to figure out why has this team been so bad. And I was talking to a buddy of mine tonight on the phone, and we boiled it down to a couple things. Personally, I think they're jinxed. The new Browns are jinxed. Not as bad as the old one, the old Browns, but definitely in their own right, the 1999 to current Cleveland Browns are absolutely jinxed. First and foremost, look where the stadium's built. They built it on top of old Cleveland Municipal Stadium. I used to be a guy who didn't believe in karma, but given to some things that have happened to me in the last few years, I completely believe in karma. And they built a stadium on top of a place where there is nothing but bad karma surrounding it. Any football historian or Browns fan knows what Red Right 88 is, or the Drive. The fact that the team got moved and they were ripping seats out of the stadium in the last home game there. A lot of bad karma. So they built the stadium on top of a place with a ton of negative energy, number one. Number two, their first draft. Drafting is so important in professional sports. Probably more important than player development to some people. But who you select goes a long way into shaping your franchise. Anybody who knows football knows that the Browns ruined Tim Couch's career by making him the first pick of the new franchise. I've always been a believer that you do not ever, by the way, dig the Mario shirt there, feel the burn. He's in better shape than me. Uh, you never make your first pick of an expansion football team a quarterback because as a new team, you're not going to be able to score much. You're not going to be able to run the ball. But as a football team, as a brand new team, you better know how to block and tackle. Defense, blocking, bare minimums, because you're not going to score a lot of points. That's just asinine. I mean, looking back at some of the expansion teams, I mean, the Houston Texans were 2-14 their expansion year. David Carr, God bless his body, sacked 76 times as a rookie. That ruined him. I thought that guy had a hell of a lot of talent. Getting sacked 76 times to kill your confidence. I don't care who you are. So, I've taken it upon myself tonight, using the magic of the Xbox One and Wikipedia, to look up this draft, 1999, and we're going to do 2000. We're going to shape the future of the Cleveland Browns in 2 years. And we're going to go with all their picks. Now, what we're going to do is we're only going to reshape the picks based on the players taken in each round. So it's not like with the 2000 draft, the first pick's going to be Tom Brady and you call it a day. That'd be way too easy. He will still go in the 6th round, which that might be a spoiler. But what we're going to do, we're going to look at the first pick of the 1999 draft. Obviously, it was Tim Couch. Now, this was a pretty strong draft class, at least in the first day. Me being a Rams fan, we took Torrey Holt, and I couldn't be happier about that. But a weird part of me thinks that the best situation, given the offense we ran, would have been Tim Couch. Yeah, we did just sign Trent Green, but hey, you want to give him a young kid to help mentor and get him ready for that Mike Martz offense? Would have been the best fit for Tim Couch. But hey, big game Torrey Holt. You won't get a complaint out of me. Now, we take a look at the other guys here. Of course, Akili Smith went number 3 to the Bengals. Duh. 9 on the Wonderlic. Need we say more? Donovan McNabb at number 2. Great pick for the Eagles. Edgerrin James at 4. Great pick for the Colts. Ricky Williams, he took a little while to get going, but the peaks of his career were fantastic. We skipped the Rams at 6 because they took Torrey. We go to number 7. The Washington Redskins got their first round pick from the Bears. I'm sure the Bears wish they had this one back. But we're going to take their 7th pick and make him the number 1 overall pick because arguably Champ Bailey is the best cornerback of his generation. Actually, I won't even say arguably. He just is. He's one of the best defensive players, period, of his generation. We're going to make him the number 1 overall pick of this draft to the Browns because, like I said, you better at least be able to defend somebody. New football team, you're not scoring points. So we will scroll on down to the 2nd round. And the Browns pick. The pick they made was actually pretty good. Kevin Johnson, who had a couple of 1,000-yard receiving years for the Browns. He played at Syracuse. He was teammates with Marvin Harrison and Donovan McNabb. But we're going to keep going and look at the 2nd round picks here. You got some great ones. Mike Rucker at 38 to Carolina. He had a great career. The Rams hit it again at 41 with Dre Bly, and he was a Pro Bowler. And truth be told, that's who I would take with that 2nd pick. I would take Dre Bly because then you got 2 shutdown corners at the time. Now, Dre was great for about 5 to 6 years. Didn't have the longevity of a Champ Bailey. But now you got 2 shutdown corners, athletic corners who can run. And Champ also could step up and play run coverage, where Dre probably had better ball skills at the time. Moving into the 3rd round, as we find where the Browns are, they have the 1st pick. Now, this one wasn't bad either. They did take Dalen McCutcheon, who was a corner out of USC. A little bit of a slower guy, but solid cornerback. But let's take a look at this 3rd round and see at pick 73. We're really loading up on defense here. I see multi-time Pro Bowler Joey Porter. Now, of course, because he was a great player, and this is the Browns, naturally he got drafted by the Steelers. So you've got a cornerstone at linebacker and at cornerback, and a complimentary corner as well. Moving now to pick number, drum roll please, we get into the 4th round. The Browns at 124. They took linebacker Wally Rainier out of Virginia. Now, we don't have many more picks left in this round. So, crazy as this one sounds, we would take Aaron Brooks. I know, 2000, 6th round, we are taking Captain America. That goes without saying. But Aaron Brooks was a solid quarterback and had some good years in New Orleans. So that gives you an emergency option in the event of. Break in the event Tom Brady gets effed. 5th round, the Browns took their first offensive player in Darren Chiaverini, their first skill player, so to speak. But we're not going to go there. As we still sit in the 5th round here, we'll take a look, and I see you can either take Mike Rosenthal, who is a good offensive lineman, right tackle out of Notre Dame. He got drafted by the Giants, but also played for the Vikings. Or you could take Pro Bowl defensive tackle Rod Coleman. Really loading up with something special here. Now, granted, I hold off with taking the quarterback early simply because they signed, I believe it was Coy Detmer was their first quarterback. Let him be a mentor, do the whole veteran leading the young kids deal, and you're golden. Get into the 6th round here, and they pick at 174. They took a defensive tackle. Then you can get yourself a pass-catching tight end in Desmond Clark. Great possession guy, good blocker. Bam, that's dependable because you need dependable hands on a team that's not going to score a lot of points. And we have another 6th round pick, and they took a long snapper. Instead of taking a long snapper, let's see who else they could have taken instead. They don't have a whole lot of choices here, but instead of that long snapper, they honestly could have taken Marte Jenkins, who's a return man, who at one point held the NFL record for most return yards in a season. So, You've done pretty well so far. Now, the seventh round, they took a former Razorback running back named Madre Hill. Or you get another set of dependable hands and draft Donald Driver. Packers fans know who that is. So that is just the 1999 draft. You went and loaded up on defensive centerpieces. You got a couple of dependable pass catchers as we continue to scroll back up because we're going to get into the 2000 one. And boy, did they screw up with the first pick. Boy, did they mess up. I cannot stress that enough. It was very, very bad. You take a look at 2000, and the Cleveland Browns took Courtney Brown. Courtney Brown was a big time pass rusher out of Penn State, but the dilemma was, do you take him or his teammate, LeVar Arrington? And LeVar Arrington was a fantastic player, and he had a much longer and successful career than Courtney Brown. Courtney Brown played 5 seasons, constantly injured. And now we move on to the 2000 draft. Here's the thing, for as great as LeVar Arrington was, we don't take him either. We're going to scroll down. See, at number 3, you could have taken Chris Samuels, who could be a Hall of Fame offensive lineman. Jamal Lewis, fantastic. He broke the single-game rushing record against the Browns. Need we say more? Or you go down to the number 9 pick, and in addition to having drafted Joey Porter and Champ Bailey the year before, you take converted safety Brian Urlacher. Just think about that. Joey Porter, Champ Bailey, Brian Urlacher on the same defense. This is what you're building around within 2 years. You tell me what's fair about that. So you've got a great defense set in place. Now you may want to try to start assessing to the offensive side of the ball. Now in the second round, they took Dennis Northcutt, who was a very, very fast, shifty return man. He was a decent wide receiver. But let's see who else we could have taken in this second round. All-pro tackle Chad Clifton, who went to the Green Bay Packers. Or you could have taken ball-hawking safety Mike Brown. 2001 was a magical year to any Bears fan who knows a little bit about Mike Brown. Just saying here. Now we move on. Let's see, we get to the third round, and they take Travis Prentice, who is a big-time college runner out of Miami of Ohio. He did not work in the NFL. We could also look at taking a guy like Darwin Walker, who was a very good defensive tackle for the Philadelphia Eagles, or at pick 78, you go get your playmaking receiver in Lavernius Coles. You see what we're putting together here? This is freaking amazing. I think we got us a potential playoff contender year in and year out. That's just within the third round, the first 2 drafts. And then at pick 79, they have another third round pick. They took a receiver, Jawan Dawson. Instead, as we take a look at the remainder of that third round, who could they have taken but Darrell Jackson? Darrell Jackson was a very underrated receiver during his time in the league. Or they also could have gone with the pick right after him, Reuben Drones, who eventually did play for the Browns and ran for over 1,000 yards for the Browns. Now we get into the fourth round, and they took Lewis Sanders, a corner out of Maryland. Instead, we'll take a look and see who else they could have taken. They could have taken a hometown kid in Niall Diggs, who's a pretty good linebacker in the NFL. They could have also taken, let us take a look here. They had 2 second-round picks, and actually Aaron Shea, who they did take with their second one, wasn't all that bad. He was a solid blocking tight end, who also played a little bit of fullback. So really, they did fairly well given what was in that available in the fourth round. Now we get to the fifth round. They took a corner out of Texas Tech named Anthony Marlboro, not to be confused with Marlboro cigarettes. Fifth round, they could have also taken multi-time Pro Bowl punter Shane Leckler. Because as we noted already, the Browns at this point still aren't going to score a lot of points. They'll be punting a lot. Shane Leckler, Lord knows he did enough punting for the Raiders. There's your Pro Bowler. Now, we get to the sixth round. We're going to skip the sixth round because we all know the answer to that's Tom Brady. Bottom line. And a fun fact, as a Rams fan, it hurts my heart to know that pick number 198 belonged to the St. Louis Rams. But at the time, we didn't actually need him, as crazy as that sounds. Now we get to the end. They had the last pick of the sixth round, so they took who they took, which was a tackle out of Colorado. And then they had the first pick of the seventh round, and we'll take a look if there's anybody they could have taken here that would have been an upgrade of any kind. As we scroll on, It doesn't particularly look like they could have, except they could have actually got themselves a good blocking tight end in his time, fullback in Patrick Pass, who won himself a couple Super Bowls with New England Patriots. So you see what we've put together here? Lockdown corners, two elite level linebackers. One's going to the Hall of Fame, and one of those cornerbacks I listed is going to the Hall of Fame. You have a Pro Bowl punter, a Pro Bowl wide receiver in Coles, solid catching tight end in Clark, good set of hands in Darrell Jackson and Donald Driver, and you give them Tom Brady. What did I just make here? I just made about 3 Super Bowls at minimum for the Cleveland Browns, the new Browns. The old Browns, especially the 80s ones, were awesome. Do your homework if you actually aren't young enough to even know that the Browns were somebody, especially during the days of Otto Graham, Mary Motley, Jim Brown. So that's just my little commentary and take on how to fix the Cleveland Browns in 2 drafts. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you later.